Hey everybody, Eric, thanks for the intro. I'm really excited to share a scale with all of you. This is actually my third time to present at one of the 1 million cups. So let me see here. I'll go ahead and share my screen. Can you guys see the PowerPoint?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right, so I think starting out here, going into the problem, if you look at the Midwest and the venture landscape, only 5% of seed funding is allocated to the Midwest. And so we do have a access to capital problem if you're a startup founder in the Midwest, but this does create a flywheel effect. So when you have lack of capital, you start losing talent, startups, um, and it also creates an issue with network effects, education. So like starting with the universities, it's just not a well-known thing in the Midwest. Now, if you look at some of the successes in the Midwest, you have Zapier, which is the #1 connector of web applications in the world. Equipment Share, the largest construction tech company in the world. Veterans United, the largest VA mortgage lender in North America, and then Basecamp in Illinois, which is one of the largest project management tools in the country. And out of all these companies, despite their extreme outlier success, capital constraints were not an issue. Yes, Equipment Share is the only one on here that has generally really necessarily raised VC dollars, but that's minuscule to the amount of debt that they actually raise from local and regional banks. And at the heart of each of these outlier successes, we're strong and principled founders. And what I mean by that is that or raising fundraising, but they were innately curious about the customer and solving problems for them. And all these things would struggle with network effects, not really understanding how to raise money or knowing who to talk to or get connected with the right people. It actually made them stronger through the adversity. And if you look at like venture capital funds like Sequoia Capital, where they actually make an investment and then they don't talk to the founders for 2 years because the ones that come out of that are better at the end of the day. Now, I'd like to, now that we've kind of talked about the problem and also the opportunity with founders in the Midwest, I'd like to, as well as other underserved markets, like to introduce a new model of venture building, which is scale. So there's two sides of our model. We have an accelerator fund where we're sourcing deals, and then we have a venture studio where we have internal ideas and I'm sourcing technical co-founders to come on and be the CEO. So we make the aim 25 investments over the next 2 years with the goal that we will raise a second fund to make even more investments with bigger check sizes. Now, our investment thesis goes all the way back to the problem, but the opportunity that the greatest driver of venture returns is a selection of founders strengthened by struggle. And so when we are sourcing deals, it's founder first focus. We have an application that is asking 8 questions to really understand the founder's character and like their ability to be a successful operator. So what data points can we look at from their past and their personality that show that they can be a successful operator and build a business? We're first money to pre-seed, so we'll invest as early as you haven't even incorporated yet and you just have an idea. Industry agnostic, and we invest across all of North America. So a little bit more about what we offer outside of just the capital. We do have, we're hands-on support. So we have a team of folks who have been successful operators who are here to help with anything on the operational side. I mean, just 2 weeks ago, one of our partners up at 2 a.m. Role-playing a negotiation on a deal that one of our companies had been offered. Other things is the network effects. We bring in hundreds of investors and help make warm intros to companies who normally would not have them. We have a demo week and mentorship, advisors, credible team around us. And on the venture studio side, just so you know, because this is kind of a newer concept, there is a quick case study. So we have a company called Tech, where we sourced someone who was getting their PhD in computer science at University of Missouri, brought them in to be the CEO. He's got a huge background in AI ML. So he's able to come in and build an MVP in 3 months, and we can co-incubate that with Equipment Share, Scale, and Legal Tech Fund, which this is a fintech legal tech company solving pain points with asset financing, which is a huge thing with Equipment Share. So we can bring him in 3 months to an MVP and then raise institutional funding and really de-risk this startup for this founder. Now, who's the team? So this is really the true value of scale, is the folks behind it. So this was started by William Javik Schlacks as well as Jay Malik. William Javik are builders from the Midwest, so they experienced the struggle themselves, whereas Jay is from the East and West Coast. He has his own fund called Countdown Capital outside of scale. And so really their mission was to take all this knowledge and capital that they've accumulated over the last 6 years and reinvest that into other founders. And in addition to that, we have advisors from founders of Patient, Main Street, Zapier, Calendar.com, and Veterans United. I don't know what's going on here. There we go. Now, some small wins that we've had so far, just in this current portfolio, we're on target for all of our companies with 2 to 3 months outside of the first cohort to raise $8.5 million in funding, with a total market cap on paper of 60 million. Right now, we've got companies from fintech, prop tech, insurtech, and even food tech. Big focus for us definitely is more of the real estate, financial technology companies, just from who we come from. Largest construction tech company in the world, as well as one of the largest mortgage lenders. And outside of that, we're trying to really cultivate this community in the Midwest, starting in Columbia, which is where Zapier, Equipment Share, and Veterans United were all started. And to do that, we're trying to put on some more community events. So this year we're putting on Startup Weekend, which is if you're not familiar, a Techstars event. And so it's really a fantastic platform to really get folks outside of their comfort zone and come pitch an idea, form a team, and then actually launch that business in 54 hours if they wanted to, and have access to mentors and great resources over the weekend. And so for people who, especially in the Midwest, who are, maybe a little bit timid to the idea of starting a business, when we start thinking about legal, accounting, and all these things, it's a really good opportunity to say, hey, it's actually not that hard. They can try this. And then in addition to that, it's trying to build up student talent network, starting with local and regional universities in Missouri, to try to keep that talent here instead of leaving and going to the East and West Coast. And so really our ask is to help connect us with founders who are across the country who would be great for scale, as well as technical talent that folks are looking for jobs, or people who want to come on and be a founder of a company. And so that right now I'm heads down sourcing for the second cohort. And so, most of the time it's like trying to find a needle in a haystack with finding a great founder. So any intros will help. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Brett. Thank you for the presentation.
Yeah.
Very informative. And I realize this is kind of a technical topic, but the one thing that your presentation started off really fast, I think, at least for me. I was just a suggestion, if you can make it more narrative next time, or just start working on that. Maybe just as a quick idea, tell the story instead of just, this is the founder and this is the characteristics and this is the demographics, that kind of thing. Maybe just talk about Sarah. Maybe Sarah is your perfect ideal avatar example, and tell us what she's going through. Tell us where she's at in her business. She has this great idea. She can't find funding because seed funding doesn't get spread out. Like, I just think of these seeds just going out across the country, but they never seem to hit the Midwest, even though she's got this next best idea that she wants to bring to the world, or something like that. So just some feedback on the presentation in that aspect. It's very informative, which is good. Maybe if you can add some narrative, I think that would make a huge difference. Let's get to some questions here. I've got a bunch more questions too.
I got a question, Brett.
Yeah, go ahead, Alan.
You're talking about focusing in the Midwest. You said a little bit that maybe you're looking to reach outside that arena. We have here in Orlando, we have a very strong entrepreneurial section going on. Might you be interested in some of the people that we're working with, both for resource and for clients?
Definitely. So our first cohort, we have 4 companies in the Midwest, one in New York City, one in Miami, and then another team that's distributed. It's remote. One's in Florida, New York, and LA. So we're definitely open to investing in other geographical areas.
What was your email address again? It was up on the thing very briefly.
Yeah, let me post it in the chat.
Hey, Josh, can I ask a question?
Yeah, go for it.
So the two components, that went so fast, I didn't have quite a chance to understand. And so you have the venture capital fund, and you have is it Visual Studio or what?
Venture Studio.
What is it?
Venture Studio.
Venture Studio, which is, from what I would think, it's a matter where, or why don't you describe that? Is that where you just bring in people from different expertise to help with people's businesses?
So the Venture Studio side, think of that as we have a team with a whole list of businesses that we want to start. We don't have the capacity to do that. And we're also, myself, like I'm not technical. So we're sourcing technical talent to come on and be the co-founder, CEO, or CTO of these businesses.
Okay.
And then we put in seed funding, offer operational support. We really like the co-incubation model because it just maximizes the network effects and resources for that company. And then, for example, like with this first one, we're co-incubating with the legal tech fund, and they are going to be leading the first institutional raise for this company. So if you think of like an entrepreneur coming in, founding a business, we've really de-risked that model from the early stages.
Okay.
And,
so
yeah.
I guess a follow-up question would be then, or so clarity is you have the talent and you're looking for someone that wants to be a founder. Is that correct?
I don't have we're looking for the talent. Yes.
You have the talent, but okay. So you have the talent, but you're looking for founders.
So there is no talent. So think of like, we just started a business, incorporated it. We have an idea. We're like, we have an idea for building a product. Let's find someone to build the product and then let them do the customer development, figure out how they continue iterating on this product, and they'll lead the company.
So you have an idea and then you're outsourcing everything else.
I'm sourcing someone to come in and be the founder of that company.
Okay. So you need talent and founders. You just have an idea.
Yes, really. I mean, we need both.
So,
yeah.
So here's my question. How, if I'm going to depend on you for an idea, really all that you're doing is you're saying, okay, as we're gonna fund this, so we need talent and founders. How much before I wrap this up on this question, how much are you giving away percentage-wise? How much are you keeping?
Yep. I would say that's a case-by-case basis. It depends on who we're bringing in.
Well, give me a ballpark figure.
I would say anywhere between 20 to 50%
is what you're keeping.
What we're giving away.
You're giving away. Okay, so why, if this, I think this is a big challenge I have with your idea, is if I have a founder, if I'm a potential founder or a potential talent, and I'm going to have to come in and do all the work, and somebody's just giving me an idea and some funding, why would I only want 20%? Why would I only want 50%? If all I got to do is come up with an idea and then give away 20%, and I have all the resources that I need, I'm not sure where the attractiveness is to this business model, because it sounds like the only thing that you're bringing to the table is some money and I don't know what else. And then you're gonna make somebody work for you for a very small percentage. I don't, maybe it's just me, but I'm not understanding the need for this, because one of the biggest problems that people have with businesses is they come up with an idea. This is the number one cause of failure, is they come up with an idea and there is no market need for it. And so I don't understand why you're only willing to give up, 20%, 50% of the business for just having the idea and having somebody else do all the work.
Yeah, so I mean, I could educate you a little bit more on what we're actually doing. So if you think of a venture studio, it's similar to like a corporate venture arm. So think this first company we have, which is Tech, Equipment Share, which is the largest purchaser of equipment in the world. So they're constantly financing equipment, billions of dollars a year. All right, so there's this thing called a UCC that banks file when they're taking collateral on equipment. Super archaic industry, whether you're doing M&A, so you're acquiring a company and you have to do diligence on who has collateral on what with the company, or let's just say that you're trying to finance your own equipment. Now this commercial bank has to do diligence on all of your equipment. Okay, so anyways, Equipment Share has this huge pain point. They're a $1 billion company. They need it solved. Okay, so we have this idea, hey, we want to create the Google search for UCC so you could type in a VIN number and come up with any UCC you need. Or search something in the collateral and come up with the UCC information. Now, there's more that needs to be bolted onto this, but we're providing all the resources to this company, all the general counsel, legal counsel, outside counsel of Equipment Share to help do customer development, connect them to commercial banks across the country. So it's more than just, hey, like, we have this idea, can you come in and just start building it? It's a little bit different than that. And if we were to give somebody, and the person that's doing this now has more than 20% equity, I said 20% because, and this wouldn't necessarily happen, but I gave you a range, is if we brought in somebody that wasn't technical and couldn't build the product, which we wouldn't do, they would get less equity, because we value the person that can actually build a product more from the early stages. So it is quite a bit more than that. And then we bring in the network of the Legal Tech Fund. We both put in a seed check. Legal Tech Fund commits to leading the first round. This founder's already gone from idea to raising $1 million pre-seed round, and they've been given all the resources to continue iterating on the product, doing customer development, and getting feedback from the actual customers that are going to be using it. So I do think it's cool.
I understand what you're saying now, which is good. What is your competitive landscape? If you have a VC fund, okay, so say I were to go out and do the exact same thing that you're doing, and I have to go out and buy the resources that you're providing, okay? What does a typical business owner have to give up as far as percentage-wise to get those resources? That's your competitive landscape. Your competitive landscape is not someone that wants to come in. It's how much percentage you're going to have to give up in order to have the same, what I could do on my own versus what you're doing. Because I could go out and buy that network.
I think a lot of this is time, that we're saving them months of their time to come in and build a product and have all the resources ready there. So if you think of somebody,
that's valuable. But my question is, what is a typical, if I'm going to go out there and go out and look at the resources and time and money, what is it going to take? What is your value prop to save me all the time and money to come in and give you 50% of the business for that network, those resources and things? So I think when somebody's,
I don't know. I mean, that's like an intangible value that you can't necessarily put a dollar amount on. I mean, if you think of other just accelerator funds like Y Combinator, they quickly take up to 15% equity now with their $500,000 checks. I mean, then all they're offering is capital with a logo, so you can go out and raise money because you have a logo on your resume. And they're not offering any intangible value.
No, don't take this defensively. What I'm saying is that the way to pitch what you're doing is to say, listen, we're going to come in and the competitive landscape is 35% to get this done. Otherwise, we're going to take a little bit more, but we're going to make it happen right now. It gives you such a unique advantage if you know what your competitors and what the marketplace in or out of the Midwest would do, because you can say, listen, your talent, come with us. Founders, come with us, because we're going to make this turnkey. Yeah, you may not have quite as much of a high percentage, but we're going to cut off this much, this much time from your growth rate, and we're going to have you have the ability to make this much more money because we've got a sure thing here. That's an intangible that you can't put a value on. You're right, because you've got, with this example you were just talking about, it's a sure thing. And for business to have a sure thing is worth a lot of money. So the reason I went through all this is because I didn't understand your competitive advantage. There is a huge competitive advantage there, but you need to articulate it so that somebody can understand it.
Excellent
Yeah.
point. Maybe take this conversation off. I want to get to a couple other questions.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No problem. Eric has a question. Are you only looking for Midwest talent? And then what about remote opportunities? And I kind of had the same question around that because it seems like your heart's in the Midwest, but it sounds like you're also trying to, let's say, spread the seeds, so to speak, across the country.
Yeah, definitely a hybrid accelerator. So at our office right now, we have a couple of our companies that are here operating right now, but we do offer this like remote opportunity. I mean, the world today is pretty much fully remote. And we know that, and that's how we actually have some startups that are fully remote and the team members have never actually even met each other in person. So yeah, totally looking for outside talent. Yeah.
Okay. And do you offer business services and marketing services to help your startups if they don't have some of that?
Yep. So we're not like building out a marketing playbook and marketing for them. I mean, we'll sit down and walk through them with, how do you increase like inbound leads and like all this different stuff. Me personally, my background is more accounting, finance, CPA. I'll sit down and work with our companies on, what's increasing revenue, what is driving revenue, how is that driving expenses, who do we need to hire, how much money do we need to raise, what is that allocated to, and build a dynamic model. So I help a lot on like the finance side, financial planning, sourcing talent for our companies, and working through pitch deck and storytelling and getting ready to understanding how to talk to investors and how that's different from talking to customers. And so yeah, I mean, we offer a lot of support around that, like more on like the business operations standpoint. And there is a fine line with like how much do we do for our companies, because we don't get to the point where we're like holding their hand through this and then they leave scale and they've been dependent on us for the last 3 or 4 months. Because that's not helping anyone. So we do offer like business operational support. We're around 24/7. But there is like a fine line with like actual support and then actually doing stuff for people. So
Right. Makes sense. And I appreciate, and I know Rob would appreciate this too. You said the S word, storytelling, right? That goes back to that narrative that we were just talking about. So, I'm curious because I didn't quite get the full sense from your presentation, but why do you care so much about this? You personally, why you? Why are you the right person for this? Why do you care so much?
Definitely. So I started in actual startups before moving into investing. I enjoyed like the startup scene, digging in on a project, focusing on the product or strategy or operations or whatever. But for me, it was, I wanted to get into the investing side and being able to work with many founders. So before this, got to work with a pre-seed fund in Missouri and just fell in love with helping founders in the Midwest and across the country, really like being able to take advantage of some of their dreams. So that's kind of where I get it. I love it. It's I like to think of myself as like a true problem solver. And so getting to help all these different people on their problems, it's almost like I'm a consultant in the company. So yeah, that's why I enjoy it.
Okay, awesome. And is there an exit? What is the exit strategy here long term? What does success look like for this company?
Yeah. So, well, we're necessarily not exiting ourselves because we are structured. So we have LPs, we're a fund, and we're investing capital in all these companies. I guess the goal here would be, this is our first like small fund as an experiment. Is this going to work? Both models, accelerator and venture studio side. So as long as over the like next 6 to 9 months, we get some small wins basically on paper, like, hey, our companies are leaving, they're still in business, they're raising funding from outside firms, they're getting traction with customers, then we can take those data points as like an investment track record to raise a second fund, to give even bigger checks to companies and create even bigger of an impact, and then raise a third, fourth, fifth fund. And then, obviously we are doing this to make money for our investors. So hopefully at the end of the day, we do have some pretty successful businesses come out of this.
Nice. So the idea is everybody wins. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. All right. I'm going to send it over to Eric for our final question.
All right. Thank you, Brett. Great job. Final question is, what can we as a community do for you here in Orlando? What can we do for you up in the Midwest?
Yeah, I mean, it's honestly, it's connecting me with local investors, angels, entrepreneurs that you know, folks who are looking to hop on an early stage startup or even build their own. That, I mean, that's really just getting more connected to people, because I have a limited amount of time on my hands and I can't meet everybody or reach everyone. So that would be very helpful to us. And then obviously, like, offering feedback or ideas that you guys have, for example, that you've given me today, it's been very helpful. So
Okay, great. All right. Well, thank you very much.
thank you. Thanks for inviting me.
Sure. Next, we're going to hear from, I want to show off his logo. So we'll go full screen again. We'll hear from Gladymire Philippe of Kado. And Gladymire is calling us from Salt Lake City. So he's up extra early today. We appreciate that. So Gladymire, what do you have for us?
Thank you for that opportunity. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Yes. So Kado is a marketplace for students to find projects and to really gain the skill set that they need to succeed. The problem is businesses in the US, they just have a hard time to find talented students who have the skill set to join the full-time team. And Microsoft just launched a research that by 2030 there will be 85 million tech jobs that will be unfilled. And schools are notable. Schools don't really have a relationship with businesses to find great projects for the students to gain the skill set that they need. And students are left behind because they can't get an entry-level jobs, because those require 3 to 5 years of experience. And the people like me who have 3 to 10 years of experience, we would rather apply for like an entry-level job, because it's easy for us to really get those. And those college students who do not have any experience, they can get them. And now with COVID, more people are getting 2 jobs and working at home, and college students are left behind and they can't even get a job. So what is Kado? Kado helps businesses reshape the workforce expectation and find talented students. Kado helps schools with job placement and to retain the college students and recruit the more high school students. Kado helps students get work experience as early as a freshman, so that they can land a full-time job before they finish school. So the business model, we charges businesses a fee to list projects, and we manage the internships too as well. And that for a huge business like Facebook or Zans Bank. So we will manage the internships for $25K per year. And for schools too as well, like a large schools that have over 50,000 students, they would create some projects on Kado, and Kado would provide them with the management tools for $25K per year. And students get paid 80% of the project fee goes to the students, and Kado take 20% of that fee. So since last fall, we have worked with the Amazon, and if your startups here in Utah, the University of Utah is just our first paid user clients last month, and that's $100,000 per year, because we are working with 5,000 students now at the University of Utah that are working on projects now. Last fall we worked with like a few projects here in Utah, and we got a few students at the University of Utah that helped save businesses in Utah $1 million last fall, and those projects were free, and if they paid Kado, they would have still saved over $800,000, and students would have get paid $175 last fall. So here is one of the University of Utah students. He was a master's student last fall, so he finished school in December, and he loves Kado concepts because we help him gain skills that he didn't have, and he now has a great job in Cali, making over 150K now. So the market for Kado is big because we work with college students, with boot camp students, or with people who learn some things online, and then they want to get their foot into the tech jobs too as well. And we provide them Kado so that they can get the skill set. The value that we add to the schools, we connect the skilled students to the businesses that want to work with them, and we help the schools retain the college students, because now the students don't need to have a fast food job, because they can stay at home and work and get paid too as well. And once the students gain 1 or 2 years of experience on Kado, they should be able to land a high-paying job before they finish school. And with businesses, we save you time and money, because you don't have to wait for 6 months to really open a job. With those small tasks, you can give those to college students, and instead of waiting to have 6 or 8 of them and to create the time, it takes time and money, and we save you that with Kado, and we make sure that the students on Kado have the skill set to really work on those projects and to finish them too as well. And you don't need to add an employer, but you can work with as many students as you want, and you will get work done faster as well. Kado by the numbers, so we have over 92,000 students on the wait list that we cannot bring on yet on Kado, and 145 businesses, and we might give access to 20 of them next month, and 35 schools as well at the waiting, because we are just a small team. And the schools that we work with, business school and engineering schools. So if a youth school doesn't want to use Kado for the whole school, but a part of the school can use Kado as the business school or the law school. And on the right side is the type of projects that businesses are willing to create for the college students. So the partners that we would love to bring in next month, but we don't have that capacity because we are a small team, but more businesses are really interested into the Kado platform, and we hope that we could bring them all on the team. So I founded Kado, then I brought on 3 team members last month. Then he got his Master's of Finance at the University of Utah. Mohit got his Master's in CS2 as well at the University of Utah, and Dara got her Master's from Florida International University. And we are a small team trying to help more college students to get their foot into the tech. So I moved to the USA 10 years ago, and then I moved to Utah to get my bachelor's in CS, and I worked at the American Express for a few years. Then I left them to join Carter. And at Carter, I helped build the Salesforce CRM. And then I left them last year to build Kado. So my advisors, Phil Tassi, used to work for Tech Stars. Ken Chenault was the CEO for the American Express. He worked for Facebook for the last few years. And Chris is a tech guy in Silicon Valley. And I have a few advisory board members who really helped me to build Kado to help more college students. So I learned a lot from those guys. And so there have been a lot of startups that are trying to help with job shortage, and you can think of boot camp too as well, or courses online. They popped in 2010 or 2012, and still there are way more jobs now than ever before. And there's not a clear way to help with the job shortage, but if we can get all of those college students out into the tech job within their freshman year to their second year in college, that would help with the job shortage. So that's it. So my ask would be, if you have a connection with schools in your city or state, and you think that Kado can help them, so I would love you to make some connections. Or if you know businesses that would work with college students and to help them gain skills, and you can make a connection too as well, and I would appreciate that. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing, Gladymire. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Very nice job. Tammy's got a question. Is Kado for all schools, departments within universities?
Yes.
Okay, so there's no specific niche down or specialty you're looking for. It's across the board.
No, for right now, because we are a small team, so we can take on the tech side. Well, I mean the design, coding, finance, business. When you talk about business, sales, ads management, and things like that. But within a few months or like a year, we will tap into the science too as well, for nurses and things like that. Biotech too as well is a huge niche for us.
Okay, nice. And Eric just mentioned, as important as it is to share your background and the advisors, since you only have limited time for next time you do a 1 million cups, because you're limited to 6 minutes, maybe keep that part out or revise it or go through a little quicker, just because it takes up a lot of time to talk about the advisors.
Sounds good.
Tammy also says, in addition to placing students in companies for on-job training, does Kado provide any basic job skills like time management, professional behavior, things like that?
Yes, and that's what makes Kado unique, because when I talk about Kado, people are like, well, there's a big guy out there, it's called Handshake. We are like, great, we know about them, but you can only post job or you can post an event. But on Kado, you have a dashboard, a project management tool to really see the students working on those projects, and Kado get involved with those students too as well, and to ensure that they gain their skill set and they are working on those projects. So daily we have PMs on Kado that give those students the task to do until they finish those projects.
I'm really getting a feel for it. It feels kind of like a Fiverr or an Upwork style of platform. So I'm just curious, what inspired Kado? What inspired this concept?
In 2020, I broke my foot playing sports, and I was at home. Then I had an idea for biotech, and I wanted to find some college students. And then I went at my old school, and the school was closed because of COVID. So I had to go online, and then I went online. I couldn't find a platform like that. Well, the two that